Hey guys, welcome back to New York Sports MC. The combine is almost here. It's this weekend. That'll lead us right into free agency, which will lead us into the draft. So, a lot of news about to be coming up in the next month to 2 months, and really excited about what could potentially happen for the Jets this year. So, I wanted to jump into the press conference today, namely of Joe Douglas. Really didn't see much notable from Adam Gase. So, I'm going to go through what Joe Douglas said here as he spoke about a lot of different players and different positions on the team and how he looks to address it this offseason. So let's start out with the president, Jamal Adams. Joe Douglas came out, and this is one of the first times he really came out and expressed fully their indication to try to get a deal done with Jamal and get him re-signed. He said that he wants Jamal to be a Jet for life, which is great to hear because I agree with him as well. He's the best homegrown player we've had since Darrelle Revis, and we let him walk out the door and then dealt with that whole fiasco of getting him back and overpaying him when we did bring him back. So I want to just keep Jamal happy, keep him here his whole career. So that's definitely something he said. He said they did have preliminary talks on a contract extension, but it has not gotten further than that. I don't expect this to be something that happens real quick. It is going to take some time as they're going to go back and forth quite a bit, especially with the fact that Jamal realistically is under contract for 2 more years. So the Jets, while they want to get it done, they can definitely use that as a negotiation play. So there's definitely going to be some negotiating going back and forth. But hopefully they do get the deal done relatively short order. So next one we go to Robby Anderson. And as we all know, Robby is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. Joe Douglas has mentioned that he does want to meet with Robby's agent to try to talk with him about possibly staying. When asked if he thought Robby was a number 1 receiver or where he would rank him, Joe Douglas simply said that he has a skill set that a lot of teams around the league will desire, and he can blow the top off of any defense, which I agree with. I think it was a very sound answer, but really didn't say steadfast how hard he's going to try to bring him back or not bring him back. So I think all pretty much the same about what we think. The odds of Robby coming back seem to be pretty slim with the sizable market he may have out there this offseason. The next, and one of the big portions that he spoke about, was the offensive line. As we all know, Joe Douglas was an offensive lineman in college, so this is something that he knows how important it is to have a solid offensive line. He mentioned how that is extremely important. We need to address it. We have to protect Sam. He also mentioned how Le'Veon Bell needs help as well, that there was not a lot of holes open for Le'Veon. So he understands the importance and seems like he's going to be very aggressive in trying to fill the offensive line position, which is something that, as Jet fans, we are ecstatic to hear because it had been neglected for so long. I mean, I really feel like we've neglected the offensive line since we drafted DeBrickashaw and Nick Mangold. I mean, what else have we done positive with the offensive line since then? So great to hear that we're going to really look to focus on this offensive line this offseason. So he also did mention, they asked him about how many offensive linemen he thought would fit in the top 15 in a draft, and wisely he did not answer that with a set number. You cannot show your hand as to how many people you think are top tier talent. So he just mentioned there are a lot of tough, physical, and durable options in the draft this year. And I think durable is a great thing that he said. It is also an indicator. I've kind of said this before, and I did it in the mock draft just because I heard Connor Hughes say it. But I don't see Scherf really being somebody that Joe Douglas is going to go for. He likes those people that are going to show up and be able to work. You got to see, he mentioned about Brian Winters as being the lone starter who started week 1, who's actually under contract this upcoming year, and just spoke about how decimated that line was. We don't want to go through that again. He wants people that he can count on and be reliable. So it'll be interesting to see how he fixes this offensive line. If you see some tweets, they say, oh, he really endorsed Winters and it seems like he's going to keep Winters. I don't agree with that. All he really said about Brian Winters is he's been working really hard. He's a great locker room guy. He's always got a smile on his face, and he's really attacked his rehab. Which, what do you expect him to say? Technically, he still is under contract for next year. He's not going to be like, oh, I don't care how he's recovering because we're going to cut him anyway. That would just be horrible for the team. That'd be horrible for impending free agents, renegotiations with people on the team. You just don't say things like that. So I don't think that was a ringing endorsement that Winters would be back. I think it just speaks volumes to the work that needs to be done. He said that Winters is the only person under contract that was a week one starter. So it'll be interesting to see what he says. I don't think anything he said about Winters or the offensive line indicates that Winters is safe. I think there's still a good chance that we save all of that money, especially since there's no cap hit, no cap penalty to cut Winters. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe they try to restructure him, get him on a cheaper deal, have him compete for a guard spot, potentially be a backup at the 2 guard spots. No problem with that, but paying him the $6 or $7 million that he's owed, no thank you. He hasn't shown the ability to stay healthy or be productive for a whole season, so we can't afford to pay that kind of money. So back to Le'Veon Bell. I kind of mentioned this a little bit. He stated how the offensive line was not helping Le'Veon to open some of those holes. He did also mention how we were still able to see glimpses of the old Le'Veon when we did play the Ravens, as Le'Veon did have a pretty good game that day, and just mentioned how we have to do a lot to help him, and he sees that old Steelers Le'Veon still there. He doesn't think Le'Veon lost a step, and really squashed any rumors that he may be traded this offseason. So I haven't had him traded in any of my mocks so far. I don't think he gets traded. I think we would have to probably pay a team to take him too, so why pay him to go play somewhere else? Let's keep him here. Let's build an offensive line so that he can be productive. So now just a few other injury updates that he did mention. Spoke about C.J. Mosley and Sam Darnold as they both had surgeries towards the end of the season. And they're recovering extremely well. He said Mosley is attacking the offseason as well. And they're both expected to be ready for spring practices. So it doesn't seem like it'll affect either one of these two as we head into preparations for the new season, which I believe is what we all expected. They were not injuries that were supposed to take a very long time to heal up. So nothing shocking there. Then he did speak about Quincy Enunwa and his neck injury and the recovery process from that. And just said how Quincy has been working very hard. He's been in the facilities a lot, which is good to hear because obviously we heard that whole fiasco that went down with him where apparently he was not showing up a few times and did not let them know, and they were both getting upset with each other because Enunwa was upset he got fined. The Jets were upset that he wasn't reporting to get the treatment he needed. So it's good to hear that he's there. He's working hard. And Joe Douglas also said, though, that this next doctor's visit is going to be very important. I think that that's going to really decide whether he returns, retires, gets cut, injury settlement. A lot of different things can happen here. Because if he doesn't get an all clear, or at least an improvement of his status, I don't see how the Jets don't try to use that as a way to get out of his contract and maybe even save more money than what they normally would if he wasn't hurt and they just cut him. So nothing too crazy about the press conferences today. A lot along the lines of what we expect. Love to hear that he's passionate about fixing the offensive line. Just want to get this guy up here to you guys. What did you think about what they both said? Like I said, I didn't really touch on Adam Gase. I think that was a lot of the same stuff. He didn't say anything too outrageous on either side. He actually sounded pretty good in his interview, sounded pretty confident. And I'm excited to see how they can work together. It was, as much as they said McCagnon helped hire Gase, it looked more and more like a forced marriage throughout the whole time. You're hearing that Gase didn't want certain free agents, didn't want certain draft picks, and McCagnon did it anyway. So the thing that we can look forward to, I know a lot of Jets fans are not excited about Gase coming back, but the one thing we can look forward to is the fact that they do seem to be on the same page. They seem to be friends. They think they could work well together, and that should only help our organization, whether Gase is here past this upcoming year or not. The fact that there's two minds that are on the same page and that are going to be able to agree will help them to do things a lot smoother, make crisper picks, hopefully, and really just help to improve this team for either Gase in the long run or whoever may come in after him. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the page, click the thumbs up, hit the bell so you get the notifications when I put out these new videos. And as always, jet up.